Do you feel like your music mostly appeals to the like post Raider Klan type Florida scene, or?
Here's how I put it, because probably expecting me to come on this and disrespect SGP and be like, he's a you feel me? But like, wait, let me, but
Okay, no,
here, you ever get their homage. And I know you're going to watch this because that's the type of you is. Look, man, he had such a pull that I was so proud of him as a person and just proud of what he was doing because he was breeding a sound for the underground which had never, ever, ever made it out.
Different sound.
Like,
Yeah,
look,
different sound.
you know, what I don't understand, bro, is ASAP ended up on MTV. ASAP ended up on the MTV Awards. ASAP ended up on this, and Purrp could have been right there, breeding the sound for Florida.
SpaceGhostPurrp, man. What's going on with that, big?
F him, straight up, you know what I'm saying? He one of those cats, like, a lot of guys just hang around me, try to get high, and, you know, when they dip off, start throwing dirt on the young blood, they can't stop the pretty mother, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, he know what it is, and he's trying to lie to people, pumping that we took styles from him, and, I mean, if you really look at it, the proof is in the pudding. He's corny, and he's corny, and he's corny.
Some artists are so far ahead of their time that, through no fault of their own, they're forever stationed on the outside looking in. In other instances, their inability to progress can be attributed to their own unwillingness to find a middle ground between the anarchy of their own creative process and the marketability that it takes to expand beyond the underground. Through the rapid rise and excruciating fall of Florida's SpaceGhostPurrp and his Raider Klan, which featured Young Simmie, Nell, Xavier Wulf, and a wide-eyed young Denzel Curry, among others, we see a rare case where these forces commingled to bring down a pioneer. In recent years, the influence that SpaceGhostPurrp's early mixtapes had on not only hip-hop sound, but the sordidness and imagery that surrounded it has been more acute than ever. Descended through 3 6 Mafia and the wider Hypnotized Minds clique, 2010's aptly titled NASA, the mixtape, would take them into the astral plane and pave the way for a crew steeped in mythology like few others. Stylized in hieroglyphics and in occultist quality, Purrp and his disciples took drugged-out decadence to a mystical new space. From the outset, Purrp had a clear-cut manifesto on what it took to be inducted into the clique, either formally or vicariously through a connection to the music. You, a person with a black cloud and a dark past, who been through a lot, been hurt, been taken advantage of, misunderstood, even abused mentally, verbally, physically, all types of ways, out the ghetto, they became bold and we gravitate all black, he told HipHopDX in 2012. Truly coming into their own on Purrp's 2011 tape, Blackland Radio, 66.6, 1991, the Raiders had the world entranced by their semi-lucid sound and largely freestyled flows. But somehow, the release of Purrp's first and only studio album, 2012's Mysterious Funk, had come to represent the entryway to the end, rather than the moment that a trailblazer took his rightful place in the culture. So, where we may be acquainted with what happened, the crux of the story lies in how his self-ordained kingdom turned to rubble. After his rapid rise, the first signs of disharmony within Purrp's world came in July of 2012. After collaborating with one another on Rocky's now iconic Purple Swag Chapter 2, SpaceGhostPurrp made his first allusions to a feud with ASAP Mob. At the time, Raider Klan and Yam's Harlem-based outfit seemed like kindred spirits, right down to maintaining striking similarities in dress code and sonic direction. But where Purrp once accepted their admiration for his work, he'd abruptly cut ties with them, seeing their parallels as something more devious. "There's no ASAP Raider Klan, none of that," Purrp declared. "No way in hell. I'm not even stepping in the studio with him." Referring directly to the group's crown prince, ASAP Rocky, it wasn't yet known what the sudden severing of ties stemmed from. But when the Carroll City native expressed his desire to prematurely hang up the mic in October of that same year, the notion of Purrp's experiencing treachery became more pronounced. Taking to Facebook, Purrp proclaimed that, "I never wanted to be the perfect lyricist or the best beat maker. I wanted to be me, and I'ma still be me. Just not in the shady-ass rap world. I'm too real for it. And when I say real, I am to me, not nobody else." Exactly a month on from that dispute, the two crews would get into a physical altercation in New York. Allegedly stemming from accusations of biting their style, Purrp's general disdain for the mob has since mutated to the point where he's now adamant that the crew played an instrumental role in his career's downturn, often in distinctly unhinged fashion. If you want to know why ASAP Rocky and ASAP and every rapper hate me so much, it's because I stopped hanging with him because he didn't tell me that he was a homosexual, he said during an explosive 2020 Twitter tirade. He lied about his life, so in order for him to keep his secret, he got me blacklisted in music. Naturally, there's two sides to every story, and while speaking to Kerwin Frost, Flacco expressed gratitude for Purrp's contributions to the realigning of the hip-hop sound, but doesn't subscribe to the narrative that he facilitated his career.
Bro, I'm gonna keep it a buck, bro.
Yeah.
SpaceGhostPurrp and Top Beats taught me how to produce in 2011. They taught me how to make beats, man.
Wow.
That's the first who taught me how to make beats.
Damn.
This is facts. I'll admit this on camera, bro. But the thing is, he came and he taught me how to rap. He taught me how to dress. He taught me how to swag. And it's like, bro, I didn't meet you till I was lit. Pesos. I met you after that video came out physically. You know what I'm saying? You lived with us for 6 months, bro. Like, don't make it seem like, you know what I'm saying? Like some is not, you know? That's my thing. Is just like, I can never talk about this because I'm blowing up, and if I talk about it, I'm make this put more light on this.
Right.
Obviously, you know, time prevails. If he made me, make another you, make another me.
Yeah.
None of his with him in the crew because they realized that he was manipulating them and, you know what I'm saying, doing all this other like.
Try as people, including Purrp might, to trace his career's demise to Rocky's intervention is a convenient oversimplification. One that, in all likelihood, is used to absolve Purrp of his own mismanagement of his career. After pioneering what's became known, in his shadowy language at least, as the funk, SpaceGhostPurrp has been essential listening for anyone hoping to understand how hip-hop has reached its current vantage point. But where other artists have produced variations of his sound that have racked up streams in the millions, SpaceGhostPurrp couldn't, or didn't desire to, chisel off any of his sharper edges in order to penetrate the mainstream. Although his DIY, lo-fi mentality made him a suitable candidate, Purrp's decision assigned to a British-based label that's predominantly traded in independent, guitar-based music raises the question of whether he ever stood a chance of being effectively marketed. The source of that singular studio record, Purrp's deal with 4AD, was a part of a larger move towards monetizing artists that had previously reaped the spoils of instant access via free internet downloads. Just as XL Recordings rolled out Tyler the Creator's Goblin and provided him with an industry-fortified grounding towards greater success, it seemed as though the home of Pixies, Big Thief, and Future Islands could do the same for him. I didn't really know about them until I read up more on it, and I realized that they're humble, he told MTV after signing. Provided with something beyond a self-generated, shoestring budget for the first time, Purrp could have explored any creative avenue that he saw fit. Instead, he made the fatal mistake of retreading old ground and produced something that equated more to a retrospective or a compilation than a standalone project. To my die-hard fans, I just want them to know that it's gonna be a remake of everything I did. Not every old track, but, you know, the best of the old ones, he said. When positioned as the next big thing, perpetual motion is what keeps you in that position. As a result of repackaging older work, Purrp, knowingly or otherwise, squandered his chance at making any positive first impression on a wider audience. But in many ways, this decision to deviate from the path is in keeping with what he envisioned as the spirit of Raider Klan, explaining that it's this boy who skates and he always wears black because he was misunderstood in his neighborhood, because he was always a black person and people look at him weird. Within the symbolic quote, we not only see the roots of the outsider persona that Purrp has upheld for his entire career, but the seeds of the stylistic shifts that were to come in hip-hop going forward. And within the analysis of Raider Klan's undeniable breakout star Denzel Curry, we learned that this obstructive mentality was hard-woven into the crew. After a series of deplorable tweets about the late ASAP Yams, Denzel, Florida's latest enigma XXXTentacion, Ski Master Slump God, and Lofty 305 try to exile Curry's former colonel for good with Rip Yams' Space Ghost Pussy. After briefly discussing how the track came about with Adam 22, a wider conversation about Florida's modern-day golden era led Denzel to nail down the disparity in the mindset that's left Purrp and many of his fellow clan members suspended in time, while Zeltron has continued to evolve.
When I first came in the game, when I first started doing my tapes with the Raider Klan and stuff, I was like, yeah, man, underground forever. Until I started to realize, like, bro, I wanted more than the underground. I didn't want to just be an underground rapper. I wanted to be seen with, like, the champagne poppies, the K-Dots, and Coles. That's the conversation I want to be like.
Thankfully, Denzel renounced his confining headspace and is now seen as a mainstream prospect with unlimited potential. But no matter how far he ascends up the ladder, his initial success will always be attributed to Purrp. Less clouded in most outbreaks, Purrp can be easily traced as patient zero for Florida as a colossal force in modern hip-hop. Although it always wielded residual power, the state hadn't truly been at the driving seat of hip-hop since the days where 2 Live Crew found themselves facing obscenity charges for their lewd Miami-based sound. Generally speaking, it was more of a case that an artist would break out of the Sunshine State in containment rather than as part of a movement. Save for the Slip and Slide Records era that brought Trick Daddy and Trina to the forefront, much of Florida's upticks in relevancy were defined by one-off artists such as Plies, Brief Success, or the continued dominance of Rick Ross. Yet, for Carroll City to Broward County and beyond, Florida now holds a stake in modern hip-hop's future that's equivalent, if not larger than that of its southern neighbors and even the once almighty West Coast. Despite paving the way for everyone from Kodak Black and Jack Boy to YNW Melly and Rod Wave, Purrp has been left penniless, rumored to be homeless and posting outlandish rants on social media about everything from incels to a gun-toting spiel in the direction of Tory Lanez. Across all mediums, history is written by the victors, and as of now, Purrp has found himself without an adequate platform to continue his legacy, usurped by his former students, or relieved of his influence after the aspects of his style were assigned to more visible artists. SpaceGhostPurrp has become hip-hop's Tesla, the overshadowed inventor whose works were then popularized by the better connected or never saw the light of day. But rather than being a shock, this has been prefaced since 2012. Speaking of Hip Hop DX, Purrp made the statement that signposted how stubbornness would be his undoing in an industry where finding happy mediums is a necessary skill. I mean, the thing about me is I just do whatever I please. See, that's one thing the rap game gonna have to understand about me. I'ma say what I say and do me. I'm not gonna be stupid about it, but I'ma do it when I please. Although he certainly continued to do him, whether he's done so intelligently or with any foresight that'll lead him to take his rightful spot as an innovator is another matter entirely. This has been a HipHopMadness original. Make sure to stay tuned and stay up to date with everything we got going on by hitting that subscribe button and notification bell. Oh, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HipHopMadness and join the movement.